Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Z channel. And today's topic is going to be about being a doorman and a bouncer. So for several years I worked at a couple different establishments where I was a door guy and a bouncer, and so I just wanted to give some of my experience and just some tips that might be able to help you out if you are a door guy. So I guess we should probably start out where you're going to be most likely either in the front of the door or inside with the person that's going to be accepting cash. So depending on how many bouncers there are and what the security setup is, like the layout of the club that you might be working or the event that you might be working, you need to take on any kind of possible threats or issues before they even get inside the club. Okay, because if you let issues come inside the club, then obviously you're going to have issues, alright? So first things first, obviously you want to check for intoxicated people. You want to make sure that they're not stumbling. You know, check for any signs that they could be on drugs. You know, if you can get close enough, do a smell test if you're patting them down. You know, things like that. But before they even get inside, you should automatically be assessing, you know, whether this person is going to be, you know, a good customer or a bad customer. And sometimes you get the in-between people that are just, you know, you don't know which way they're going to go. Like, you know, they get surprised. Like, 1 minute they're fine, and then they get too drunk, and then they become that jerk that you have to kick out. So it really, you kind of have to play everything by ear, but, you know, always assess everyone. Even people that have been coming in there for a long time. Let's say you've been working there for a while. Even your regular type of people that come in to party and drink and things like that, you know, you need to make sure that you're looking out for them too, okay? In Arizona, we have the Title IV liquor laws, and so, you know, legally you're responsible for people, you know, when they come in, when they leave, how they get home, all that stuff. So if you are able to turn them away before they even get into the door, because they could be a problem or they're too intoxicated to be in there, you know, you need to look at those things automatically. Like, that should be your first go-to, alright? Just making sure that they're safe to even be on the premise inside the club. And, you know, if you have any questions or doubt about it, definitely talk to, like, you know, supervisor or someone else, or, you know, just use common sense. I mean, if they're too drunk to come in, don't let them in, okay? The other thing is going to be for weapons. You know, some places allow pat down, some places don't, but most of the carry places for the average person, they're going to be pretty obvious. They're going to be in the pockets, they're going to be around the waist area. You know, not too many people are as creative as I am and carry weapons in all kinds of different places. So just take that for what it is. When if you're doing a pat down, make sure that you do a solid pat down. And, you know, you might have to get a little up close and personal, but, you know, that's kind of part of the gig. And, you know, metal detectors don't find crap. These are what find weapons, okay? So when you're patting somebody down, you know, you need to make sure that you go all the way around the waist area, that you check out the whole part of the stomach, the abdomen, I mean the chest area, even up on the shoulders, and then also check the arms and everything too if they're wearing a long sleeve shirt. And then make sure that you go up and down the legs. Make sure you grab around the ankles. If you can't feel the full ankle, then there's something there, okay? If they're wearing boots, you know, you might need to have them lift up their leg and check inside their boot. I mean, also recommend getting some black medical gloves. You know, that way you're not having to, you know, touch people or whatever. But it's just one of those things where, you know, you are going to be that line of defense to stop someone from coming in with a weapon, okay? And the biggest thing is, like, just letting them know that you're going to be doing a thorough pat down, and ask them first, hey man, do you have any weapons on you of any kind? You know, check their keys. Do they have weapons on their keys? You know, do they have a knife inside their belt buckle? Some people carry those belt buckle knives, you know. Some people, if you see a big thick wallet, like, hey man, just let me check out your wallet real quick, because some people carry knives in their wallet. I carry knives in my wallet, okay? So, you know, check for rings. You know, I carry self-defense rings, and it's one thing that a lot of people overlook, but see if they have any spiked rings on. And then also checking for drugs. You know, you don't want drugs coming into the place, so, you know, when you're doing your pat down, make sure that you feel for those kind of things. Like, genuinely, when you get good enough, like, I could pat someone down and I could feel right away if they had, you know, if they had keys, cigarettes, lighter, if they had something that was foreign that felt like maybe like it could have been, you know, heroin or cocaine or marijuana or something like that, or if they have like a pipe or something in their pocket, you know, things like that. You can usually feel those things right away. So always ask people if you're allowed to hey, I need you to empty out your pockets of anything, and then I'm going to pat you down. Okay, so give them the wand, and then give them the pat down, or do the wand and the pat down at the same time. I used to like to take the metal detector and go down, and then I would take my hand and I would go down like one side, and then, you know, back up, and then check all the way out. Make sure if you're dealing with elderly people, and even some younger people, ask them, hey, do you have a pacemaker or any kind of a heart condition? Because if you go over a pacemaker with a metal detector, you could potentially kill somebody. Okay, so the other big thing, like let's say if someone has a prescription medication, right? Now, obviously we're not doctors, but I know a lot of times with medication you can't mix alcohol and medication together. So it's one of those things where if you do see someone and they have, you know, prescription medication, you want to make sure you bring that up to someone that's a, you know, supervisor, someone. Let them make the call, you know, on if they should let that person in the club with those pills. 9 times out of 10, the manager is probably going to tell them, hey man, I need you to put those pills in your car. Now, if they take a pill before they come inside and you see them do it, just inform the manager or the person on duty. Or if it's up to you to make that call, you need to make that call because you're liable for them getting home safely, okay? And so you need to think about that. If you watch them take those pills, like let's say, you know, that, you know, it's like a Vicodin or something like that. Obviously mixing Vicodin and alcohol is not going to be a good combination for having this person in the club, because once they get drunk, you know, who knows how they're going to react, you know, or antidepressant pills and things like that. So you need to make sure that you're being very, very vigilant on what they are doing, you know, before they even walk into the club. So that's the biggest part about that. And then as far as any kind of money transfers, things like that, you need to make sure that you're right there with your the person doing cash out, and make sure that nothing shady is going on. You know, you need to make sure that you're accounting for the money. If you see someone handed a 20, make sure, like, you know, if you know the entry price, make sure that the girl's given, you know, the correct amount of change, things like that. A lot of the times, people just kind of go through the motions of things and don't think about stuff, and you could potentially lose money in your tips if you guys get tipped or whatever, if the drawer's not right. So make sure that as best as possible, make sure that the money's being counted right. And then, you know, be customer friendly. Like, I mean, hey, how you guys doing tonight? Welcome, thanks for coming out. You know, are we celebrating something tonight? Things like that. And just be jovial, nice, smiling, but also very serious about what you're doing at the same time. Like, you got to set the tone. As a door guy and a bouncer, you set the tone before people even come in. Like, you know, hey, this guy is pretty serious, he's pretty professional, he means business. Probably not going to be the best place to start any crap, okay? And so if you take it from that aspect and you basically hit the ground running with people before they even get to the front door, or as they're getting to the front door, then you're going to have that much better of a night, okay? So take the situations head on before they even come into the club. Okay, now they've gotten past the door, they're inside the club. Now what do we do? Well, there's going to be situations that come up where people get too drunk, you know. So obviously the biggest thing when people are drunk is they're already irrational, they have liquor courage, they're ready to fight everybody, and this is where you need to be smarter than the drunk person, de-escalate the situation, and be more of a problem solver than a problem maker. So help the person, like, hey man, you know what, you've had too much to drink tonight, appreciate you coming out, but I'm gonna help you get a cab, or we can help you get a ride home somehow, some way, so that way you don't have to drive home drunk, okay, because you don't want to get a DUI, you know. And then, oh, I'm good to drive, like, oh, you know what, sir, like, I appreciate you saying so, but I'm really gonna have to recommend that you get a cab, you know, and most places do pay for cabs, and that's just a smart idea on any kind of bar owner or club owner, because at the end of the day, a, you know, $40 cab ride versus a, you know, giant lawsuit, losing your business, your liquor license, etc., is going to be a lot less costly. So, you know, take it from that aspect of it. And, you know, if you need to get with the manager, get with the supervisor, offer the guy a cab, you know, and it'll probably go a lot smoother if you guys are willing to pay for it, if you know the person's way too drunk. Now, it's happened numerous times where someone refuses a cab. Hey, F you, I'm a grown man, I'm going to drive, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. I've heard all the different excuses for people to drive drunk. And all you can do at that point is do an intox log. Make sure that you know had a good scan of their ID before they came in. And a good policy for most clubs and places is that you scan all IDs. Everyone, I don't care if they're 50 years old or they're just turned 21, you put that ID underneath the camera or some kind of a thing, and you scan and show that you have their information. Okay, that way you cover your butt for, you know, carding them, and then also you have information to put down in the intox log later on. Okay, and you also want to make sure that you get their make and model of the vehicle, their license plate, give a good description of who they are, etc. And, you know, make sure that you offer them a cab numerous times, 3, 4, 5, even 6 times, 7 times even, geez. And, you know, make sure that you cover your bases on that route, because, you know, it's happened before where people have refused a cab. They pull out of the parking lot, and next thing you know, they're getting pulled over by the police because they failed to stop at the sidewalk. They, you know, sped too excessively, whatever the case is. You know, people do stupid stuff when they're drunk, you know, and then they want to blame everyone else but themselves for, you know, what happened, on why they got drunk and the person didn't stop them. It's like, no, actually, we did try to stop you. We gave you every courtesy, every opportunity to take a cab and not drive home drunk. You decided to do those things. That's on you, okay? But the other thing is, like, you know, heaven forbid they crash into someone and kill someone or whatever, you know. So you're liable, at least in this state anyway, for people getting home safely after they've gone into your establishment, okay? So if you're a bouncer or a door guy, you need to make sure that you're being very, very aware of what's going on, okay? Now, let's get into some more heated stuff. Let's talk about dealing with someone who refuses to leave, okay? They're drunk, they've been cut off, they're mad, they want their money back. You know, everyone is an a-hole, and they're going to try to fight everyone in the club. Now, what do you do as a bouncer? Well, a couple things. Number one, you want to keep a moderate, safe distance, but you also want to be close enough to engage them if you need to, okay? Just so they don't hurt anyone else, because your job as a bouncer is to protect everyone. You can't just let someone go crazy and start flailing about, okay? Because you're going to be responsible for that too. So you need to keep a safe distance so that way they can't just like sucker punch you or get a cheap shot in. But you want to be close enough to where if you need to get in there and wrap them up, you can. So I'm suggesting anywhere from about 3 to 6 feet with your hands in a position, you know, and keep it right here. Like if you keep it up here like this looks like you're gonna fight, right, or whatever. And there's a lot of different fighting stances. I've studied a lot of different martial arts, but the best one is just to kind of keep your hands right here, okay? In Sansu, we do this, okay? You know what I mean? This is Sansu. And so just being like this, hey sir, how you doing? I can easily, you know, right here, block, punch, whatever I got to do, wrap them up, grab them up, you know, stuff like that. So it's just in that general nature that if you keep your hands like, hey sir, how you doing tonight? You know, and even though like you're in a defensive posture, he doesn't know that. You know what I mean? And make sure that you have a good balance. Make sure that your stance is correct. Don't be standing just nose to nose, toe to toe, kind of thing like that. You need to have like a depending on what angle you're at, you might want to be right foot back, left foot forward, or left foot back, right foot forward, whatever works for you. But just make sure that you're in a position to where you can't get knocked out of balance if he tries to rush you, or you know, things like that. Like always expect the unexpected, and just do your best to be able to respond to what he might throw at you. Okay, so look at it from that perspective that, you know, if he does try to swing on you, you're right here, you're ready to go. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different techniques you can do to wrap people up, and a lot of those are going to be studied in the martial arts that I've gone over, or some of them that I've gone over. I still have a large library to share with everyone, but for the most part, just being ready and active and just talking like, you know, okay, hey sir, look, I understand that you're upset. We're asking you to leave right now. If you don't leave, it's going to be considered trespassing. We will have to call PD on you. So can you just please help us out and have a good night, okay? Do you need a cab? Can we help you get a cab to get home? You know, and then that's where you go through your basic responsibilities as a doorman and a bouncer to make sure they get home safely. But you also want to make sure they get escorted out safely. And then in some cases, you got to put your hands on people, you know, and there's a way to go and do it. Some people are like, don't touch me, da-da-da-da-da. And some people, they just need that extra nudge. Like, hey, man, come on, you know, and just, you know, kind of scoot them along, you know what I mean? For the most part, regarding myself, I've only had to actually do the whole, hey, come on, let's go kind of thing. Most of the time it was either, you got drug out or you got knocked out or, whatever. So that's kind of how stuff went down for me. I broke up a bunch of fights. I've been in a bunch of fights, and none of them are ever fun. None of them are ever safe, but it's one of those things you just got to be ready to go. And a lot of times when people are drunk, they're stupid. They're not thinking smart, and a lot of times your verbal judo or verbal jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to call it, is your best bet, So they're calling you names, they're calling you whatever, it doesn't matter. They're calling you, you name every dirty name in the book, they call you that, it doesn't matter, okay? At the end of the day, as long as they get home safe, they get out of the club, and no one gets hurt, you did your job, and that's what matters, okay? So take it from that perspective of you got to be smarter than the drunk person, alright? So this is going to be the end of part 1 of the Bouncer Doorman video. I'm running out of some film space, so I'm going to come right back and finish recording in just a second, alright? So stay tuned for part 2 of the Doorman Bouncer series.